Tell me your name, where you're from, what it is you do for a living, and how you got to where we are today. My name is Jake Sloan, and I'm a solo creator based in Alaska. I do lots of hybrid video photo work. I do lots of corporate work. I do lots of outdoor work. And you know, the corporate work is great, but really my favorite type of work is probably the outdoor stuff when I'm out with helicopters doing heli skiing or out exploring glaciers or mountains or whatever. That to me is the most fun. It was a really wild journey. I mean, most of this started from some posts I put on YouTube and Instagram, and then it just sort of snowballed into there where all of a sudden I found myself in this career, which has been awesome. Well, thank you for taking the time to do this interview. I really appreciate it a lot. Yeah, you bet. I thank you for taking the time to let me do this interview with you, and I really enjoyed it. So this is how I've done a lot of interviews. If you don't know me, I do a lot of run and gun filmmaking for a lot of different things. So if I'm working with somebody, they'll be standing right here conducting the interview. I'll be working my FX6 with the audio boom just here, just off of camera, making sure I can get the best audio I can, you know, moving it around if I need to. And that has worked okay. The problem comes when I'm the one asking the interview questions and operating the camera and the mic, because I can't like sit here and have the person talk to me while I'm also doing this, because I can't really see like where the mic is. It's way too hard to do that together. So when I'm working by myself and I'm asking the interview questions, because I do that a lot out in the rural areas of Alaska when I've worked out there or when I work out there, then I had to come up with another solution. Now, one of the best solutions is this. These are really great combo stands from Impact. Safety first. But the thing I really like about these stands is they have a boom sort of built in. So when I do work around Anchorage, you can see some of the shots here that I've done with this way. This works out really well because I can boom the mic, especially if we're gonna be just stationary somewhere, and I can just put the mic on the end of this right here. So I can do something like this. And again, this is more for when I'm indoors, not necessarily outside working with somebody outside. But typically, this is where I'd be, get it just off a frame. So this way I can stand here, have them talk to me off of camera and get a good clean interview. Even at 24 millimeters, it's not bad. I'll show you what it looks like here. So I'd probably frame it up something like this, but I'd be talking, I'd have the person talking to me, because generally people aren't very comfortable talking straight to camera. So I'd be chatting, having an interview, and working like this. And as you can hear, the audio is great. I've been using the Rycode HD15 for a little bit, and it is fantastic. I really like them overall. And then I've been using their softy windshields for a long time. They're fantastic, but they have a lot of other great options too that if you get into windier situations will actually work better. I'll show you here in just a minute. A quick side note I didn't add in there, but I always do a overhead mic like this or a boom mic of some sort, just sort of a mic that's there. But also I always do a lapel mic just so you have two different sources of audio. It's really important. So usually I'll use either the Sony UWP system because it goes directly into the hot shoe, or I've also been using the DJI mic system because it's with their new hot shoe adapter, it's super easy and clean. The only time the UWP system works better, or that I will use that for sure, is when I need to hide the mic really well, or if I'm in an area with a lot of other RF going on and I know I'm gonna have signal problems like medical offices and stuff like that. The UWP system just works better because it's in a completely different frequency range than any other Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, all of that. So while this isn't bad, I wanted to see if there was a way I could condense this down even more, because especially when I travel out to rural Alaska, small airplanes, anything like that, the least amount of stuff you can take with you, the better. So I really wanted to see if there was a way to just pack this down basically to a microphone boom pole and a tripod. So this is what I found as a solution. And I actually tried this out when I was out in Bethel last time, and I just attached my DD boom to the arm of my tripod and ran it through the handle of the FX6 to give it some extra support, and it worked. It worked actually really well overall. Now that tripod is not built for nearly as much weight as the Sackler is, so if you're gonna do this, you probably wanna get something with a little bit more heavy-duty setup. But it did work in a pinch. So proof of concept, it worked. And then I found this device from Eero, something like that. Or what it's actually built for is umbrellas to be able to protect the camera in the rain, which is also very handy. But couple that with this Film Devices boom mic holder. Both of these things will be linked down in the description. Then you get this really cool setup that I want to show you. This is sort of the same setup. I've got the mic just here, just out of frame. It's a little farther away. You can't get it quite dialed in as close, but it still works really well overall. But as you can see here, like I'm talking straight to camera. The mic's right there. You can hear me fine. No wind noise. So if I was going to do this, be talking to the person, me, talking to myself, interviewing myself, this works extremely well. This is at 24 millimeters on the FX6. Now I could obviously zoom in at 50 millimeters or 35 millimeters is where I usually kind of end up for stuff like this. And that gets us even better results. Here we are at 50 millimeters, just off camera. I mean, it's a little bit out of camera, like, you know, 4 or 5 inches off camera. So it could be possibly brought a little lower to be in frame a little closer, but this works extremely well. Then we go to 35 millimeters, which is what you can see here. The camera, or the boom, is right here. So just that far out of frame. And it gives you really good clean audio. Couple that with a good lav, and you've got 2 great sources of audio. This thing can handle a lot more wind than I thought it would be. So the caveats to this is that it works great until you get into strong wind. And part of that is this, obviously, the boom is a lot of wind friction. It catches a lot of wind. So you got to be careful because you'll start to get a little bit of movement in the tripod. The Sackler has done way better than my Manfrotto tripod did. But obviously, this is built to handle a lot more weight than the Manfrotto tripod was. So that makes a big difference. But in a pinch, if you're working in areas that, you know, you're just kind of having to make things work, I really like the way this works out, because then I can stand just over there, conduct the interview, and everything sounds great. It looks great. And all I have to worry about is actually engaging with the person I'm interviewing, asking them the questions, getting them to engage with me. And I'm not having to think about where the boom is, where the mic is, where the monitor is, or how things look. So the only other thing that I might do sometimes is have a something to shade direct sunlight. Today we've got nice cloud cover, so it's not that big a deal. Now this system isn't perfect. You've got to be careful how much weight you put on this. The Hero, whatever Hero, I don't know how you say that brand's name, but they say limited to about 3 pounds. The DD boom pole is 1.1 pounds. You don't need to extend it all the way out, so that's 1.1 pounds. This is about, I don't know, 1/4 pound, and then the mic and the cable altogether, this is about 2.5, a little less than 2.5 pounds. So about 2.25 pounds or so. Now you might say, hey, there's another option on the market, the Zacuto boom arm, whatever that thing is, and I'm gonna say no. One, that's limited to about 35 inches, whereas this, you can go 5 feet, maybe 6 feet. But the other big thing is that the Zacuto one, you can't use professional XLR microphones, which is what I use when I'm doing professional interviews. That is limited to extremely small microphones, and I just, attaching it to a cold shoe, hot shoe, or cage, I just, no thank you. And the question might be, is this going to replace an actual audio person on set? No, it's not. Anytime you have somebody whose sole focus is audio and you just get to focus on video, or everybody can just focus on their roles, I would take that 100% of the time, because you are always going to get the best results. A proper boom operator can follow somebody around the scene. They can make sure and get the mic exactly where it needs to be every single time. But for me, many times I'm being sent to places or asked to go to places that it's only possible for me to go by myself. And I need to take the minimal amount of gear possible to save on weight or save on size because of the size of the aircraft that I'm traveling in, whatever it might be. And so this solution works for me. I can boom from overhead. I can boom from underneath if I need to, and it does work. Now, like I said, this stuff that I'm using is going to be linked in the description. And while you can use it, even the EOHD, HOD thing can be used with Manfrotto tripods as well. I would recommend the heavier duty tripods, because it obviously does better when there's a little bit of wind blowing it around. It was even doing a little bit today, but it's just much better on a Sackler tripod, or a heavier duty tripod anyway. So those will be linked in the description. But next, you're going to want to watch this video right here. I'll see you over there. As always, if you have questions, you can ask me in the comments below, or join my live stream, which happens most Wednesday nights at 4 p.m. Alaska time, 8 p.m. Eastern, where we can have more of a conversation. I can answer questions you might have about cameras, lenses, drones, whatever. And I will see you again soon in the next video. Cheers.